here we go again. Patch 1.26 killed our most recent arena escape route, but thankfully the awesome Horizon community has come together once again to find a new way out. And it's now actually easier than ever. Way easier than the last version. If you don't already know about the arena exploit, which allows you to duplicate resources, get unlimited shards, and even get some special coils you can't get anywhere else, then you'll want to go watch my other videos on it to get the full story once you're done here. But this video is going to be a quick update on how to do the new route. First, you'll need to know how to do what we're calling a Shieldwing jump or glider jump. By simply pressing X and square at the exact same time, Aloy will jump into the air and deploy the Shieldwing as you would expect. However, on recent patches, doing this also boosts her a little higher into the air and allows her to glide much longer. Just remember, you need to press X and square at the exact same time. It's not clear exactly when this became possible, but it probably started with the Burning Shores update. If you're having trouble getting this to work, it can help to toggle the Shieldwing deploy setting to toggle instead of hold, so you can just tap X and square at the same time instead of holding them. There's also another variation of this we're calling a Superglide or Superglider. Hit R1 to do a light spear attack and then immediately hit X and square at the exact same time just like before, and you'll get boosted super high into the air. This won't work everywhere and never seems to work in the open, but it appears to work when you're near vertical structures. Doing this one isn't strictly necessary for the escape route, but it's really fun and it does give us a bit of a shortcut I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so to do the new route, load up Cage Match. On the platform, turn left, walk up to these wooden spikes, and then jump and flick your left stick forward to get Aloy standing on them. Then rotate your camera around so you can see these long pointy overhangs. This is where we're going to use the glider jump. We're aiming for the tip of this overhang. It doesn't need to be really precise, but I find it helps to shoot for this little spike sticking out here. In one motion, push forward with your left stick and hit X and square to glider jump over here. I also find it helps to fly straight for the tip, and then right before you hit it, push your left stick to the right as if you're trying to make Aloy turn to the right and collide with the overhang more directly. Don't overthink it though, just keep giving it a try, aiming for slightly different parts of the tip, and you'll get it. It will probably take a number of attempts your first time though, which means you'll need to abandon and restart the challenge. And that reminds me to remind you to make a manual save before you start any of this. If you run out of shards restarting the challenge, you can just load up your manual save to get them all back. Once you're on the platform, there's not much room to move around up here, so it's best to just turn towards the other platform and jump directly over to it. Run up to the top of this one and then do another glider jump to get up onto the next ledge. You can get up in a few different spots, but I find it's easiest to aim for the logs poking out over here. Once you're up here, you want to get Aloy on top of this post and run forward into the invisible wall. There's a very small gap just to the left of this post we're going to slip through. Keep holding forward and slightly left. Wiggle the camera back and forth with the right stick, and Aloy will eventually slip through the gap. Small movements with the camera seem to work better than large ones, and it's best if you can get Aloy to stand on the left edge of the post. Sometimes it can take a few minutes to get this to work, but once you get a feel for it, you'll be able to do it in under a minute every time. It also appears to be easier to get through this gap after completing the final main quest, Singularity, because the invisible walls around the arena change a little bit, so you might want to finish Singularity first. It's also possible to jump over the invisible walls in this corner, and it's easier to do that when holding the weapon wheel open. However, you'll have to map your jump button to something other than X to jump with the weapon wheel open. I recommend using triangle, but slipping through the gap is definitely the easier method. Once we're past the invisible wall, we just need to run through the Memorial Grove and take a left at the exit to head past the arena entrance and towards the ramp area at the north end. Once you reach this clearing, you can call your mount and head around the west side of the arena and onto Lowland's path just like before. You can also use the stash at this shelter over here by following a specific route to avoid being kicked out of the limbo state. Head outside the entrance to the Memorial Grove and call your mount. Then stay on this side of the river and head north until you reach this bridge where you can make a U-turn around an invisible barrier. After that, you're free to fly wherever you'd like, including the shelter. Once you're done using the stash, turn to your right and head back to the arena. If you want to get out of the Memorial Grove a bit faster, you can stand on this mound of earth next to the big tree and do the super glider to float right out of the top where you can run off the side and then run west to this clearing where you can call your mount and head directly to Lowland's path. Oh, and if you're looking to get the 25% critical hit damage and 1% instant shock chance coils, Apex Predators is the easiest challenge to do that now. Although it can still be a bit annoying, and Dreaded Encounter is still the only one you can get Regalla's Wrath from. Alright guys, that's the new arena arena escape route. Simple, easier than ever, and a lot of fun. Huge shoutouts to Super Arachnid, Monero, Mr. Fancy Pants, and DFChang813, aka Shadowfall, who developed this new route over on my Discord server. If you're having trouble doing it, definitely drop into the server and I'm sure you'll be able to find some help. To learn all about how to do the other parts of the duplication glitch, I highly recommend you watch this video right here where I break it all down. And if you're on PS4 or if your game is still on patch 1.18, you can escape the arena using the original method with infinite jumps, which I break down in this video right here. As always, thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.